going on, everybody? You might be wondering why I'm in the garage. The bike is here, there's tape all over it still, and this video is not at the track. I'll tell you why. I went to the Rider Devleopment School with Fastrack Riders, and I really didn't know what I was getting into. We showed up at about 7, actually no, we showed up at 6:30 in the morning because that's what they told us was a good time to arrive. We had an hour and a half to get everything ready, get through tech, get registered, and at 8 o'clock we had to be on track. And what was interesting was we didn't have a riders meeting or anything. We just went straight to the track for sighting laps. After the sighting laps, it was pretty frantic. From that point forward, I was either on the track or in the classroom, and I didn't even have a chance to go over to my pit area to grab my camera. I didn't even have a chance to get my cooler with my food. It was pure insanity. This video is just going to be a review about that, and I'm okay with not having filmed a lot of on-track or really actually any on-track footage with a GoPro because it wasn't exciting footage. It was all drills. And I'm gonna go over that in a little bit more detail as I clean this bike up. All I can say is if you stop watching this video right now, go sign up for a track day, and if you can, find a track school like this. It will change your riding career, I promise. That's if you take one thing away from this video, that should be all it is. So, without further ado, let's get into cleaning up this bike. The first thing that I'll cover with this video is the track modifications that I made that I didn't get a chance to go over. First thing, Dunlop Q3 Plus tires. This replaced the Super Corsas that were previously installed on this bike. They were the factory tires. I love this tire. I rode them briefly on the street. The profile is much more round and really just friendly. It makes low speed maneuvers stable again, and they have plenty of grip on track for my experience level at this point, and I think I'll be just getting these moving forward until I'm ready for something else. But fantastic tire. They heat up quick on the track. I mean, it was half a lap and you could tell they were working. I can't really think of any cons, other than maybe they don't last as long as a touring tire, but who cares? The other thing, I did put these frame sliders on. I thought when I got the tires that the tire wasn't balanced right, and I was wrong. It's actually these frame sliders, and I found a thread on the Triumph forums, and interestingly enough, these cause a lot of vibration in the handlebars, and you could tell on track when you were going about 100 plus miles an hour, or 80 plus really is when you really notice the vibration. They add a lot more handlebar vibes. It's been a common thing, I didn't realize it. So if you put these on, just keep that in mind. You might want to take them off on the street for that reason. I'm just gonna leave them on because the protection's worth it. So just something to keep in mind if you put those on your bike. Otherwise, the bike worked flawlessly. I'll put in a couple pictures as I'm talking right now as well so you can see. I mean, I had no problems with the bike. This bike was everything the journalist said it was on a racetrack. I could not believe how capable it was as a naked sport bike. It's fantastic. The brakes, the electronics, I don't know, I mean, I couldn't ask for more. It's all the bike that you need and then some, and 750's more than enough power. It rips. So, if you have one of these and you haven't gone to a track, you're doing it wrong. That's all there is to it. Now let's get this tape off. It's kind of gross. And if you use painter's tape, it doesn't leave residue, but not every track organization is okay with painter's tape, I found out. Some require duct tape. I wouldn't be putting duct tape on that. So, or I wouldn't be putting duct tape on my bike. The residue it'll leave is just gonna be a nightmare to clean. So if you're going to do that, I would do vinyl cutouts, or just get some cheap vinyl from a vinyl supply and just make an overlay and trim it with a razor blade really carefully, and you'll be better off. The other thing, I don't know if you can see this. Let's move this camera down. You gotta tape your wheel weights up if you have any. This is a HVAC foil tape. It's pretty darn good, and I use this on the car a lot too. And you just tape over your weights and it removes fairly easily. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty standard track prep stuff. You remove your license plate, take your mirrors off, that kind of thing. So for the mirrors, I'll actually go over how they go back on. It's pretty cool. You can almost tell that Triumph thought about how this bike is going to be used, and taking the mirrors off is like a 3-second procedure. It's awesome. So I'll get to that in a few minutes. Oh yeah, one more thing, you got to take the fuse out for the headlight when you track prep your bike, but I did find out it was a little tricky, so I'll cover that a little later in this video. Here's another shot of these tires. They did really well. Got all the tire snot and pretty much getting most of the lean angle out of this bike. I learned a lot about lean angle and speed and really just how to better utilize it. Totally game-changing information from the school, which, again, rather than just going and turning laps, you know, ad nauseum and maybe not knowing what you're doing. The school really helped kind of give me a foundation, so I wasn't going to hurt myself. And there's a few people on the track riding around that you could tell hadn't done a school like this, and it was really unfortunate because a few people crashed and it led to some really sketchy situations. I never used my aim solo either. They actually provided timing with a transponder as a part of the package, so that's pretty cool. And that was a nice thing about Fastrack, actually. They provided a lot of stuff with the school. They provided drinks in the classroom for us, and they just really had a good holistic experience that I haven't found even with car organizations, so it was pretty interesting. And we had a really small group. There's only 4 people in the class, and there's usually 12 to 14, so we got a lot of one-on-one time. They did practice with us on the bike on a stand showing body position. I'll put a photo in here showing that. And they gave a lot of demonstrations in the classroom with diagrams, and it really helped understand these different concepts that, you know, even I don't understand as much because I do car stuff mostly, not motorcycle. It really opened my eyes to the possibilities and really how to ride a motorcycle different. For example, rather than counter steering the bike out of a corner, grab the throttle. More throttle you grab, you're standing the bike up. It just little things like that, and little light bulbs that go off that really help you understand how to be a better rider and a safer rider, because that's really the key. Is you want to be safe so you can turn more laps and not crash. Who wants to crash? A part of that class that was really important was the fact that you could go from the classroom, and this is why I didn't have time to film, you would go straight from the classroom talking about these subjects onto the racetrack. No waiting, no nothing. Here's a concept on the board, let's go ride and figure it out. And that is the key to why this school, I think, is so good, because it's one thing to talk about it in a classroom, you know, then go off to your pit, wait around, forget what they were talking about, and then go on track and kind of ask yourself, well, how did that work? They actually follow you around with an instructor filming you, and you actually get that video footage later, and hopefully by the time I edit and upload this video, you'll actually be able to see that, because that's huge. Okay, well, in this corner you're not taking this line correctly, your body position's incorrect here, and they were able to tell me that, and that's huge. To have immediate feedback, I grew leaps and bounds as a rider. I never thought in a million years that I'd be able to get my knee on the deck and feel confident on this bike. I hadn't felt confident on this bike since I bought it. Now I do. I understand what this motorcycle wants. Not completely, but I have a far better grasp of how to ride this than I ever did, and I don't think I would have ever been able to discover that on a street. And this is a pretty common story to hear from motorcycle track riders. So what are you gonna do? I might be ruined on the street now. And when you take this foil tape off, you actually kind of have to be careful, because it'll want to come off in pieces like this and not as one sheet, so you might be at it for a little while. But it's better than having your wheel weights fling off, hit another rider, maybe damage your wheel, or that sort of thing. So it's a necessary evil. And you could use duct tape or something else, but this is really the right tool for the job. There we go, I got most of it coming off now. And again, it doesn't really leave a residue, which is kind of nice. Another reason I didn't GoPro is I didn't have a chance to ask that organization if they had a requirement about how to fix the GoPro to your body. Some track organizations require 2 points of attachment, and I didn't have time to figure that out while I was there, when I didn't even have time to eat lunch. So again, priorities take over when you're in that type of scenario, and I wanted to extract the maximum value I could from my track time, because after all, that's why I went. Okay, so this is how easy the mirrors come on or off. It's a 4mm Allen. Take your mirror. And that's it. Mirrors are really fast to take on and off, which is awesome. I think Drive knew where this bike was going. Maybe to the track. I don't know. Okay, so this is the last pro tip for the video. When you track prep any bike, you're really supposed to pull the fuse for the headlights. And I didn't find anything online when I was prepping this, so hopefully this helps somebody out. But you gotta remove your seat. Once you remove your seat, right here is your fuse box. On the fuse box, you'll actually see where your turn signals are, your headlights, etc. So the turn signal fuse, which is also responsible for the brake lights, if you pull that, it actually kills your dash, which sucks because you lose all your settings. So don't do that. I did that and found that out the hard way. All you have to do is pull this 20 amp fuse it would be, if you're on the left side of the bike, bottom right hand corner here, it's just 20 amp fuse. Pop that out and it kills your headlights. It doesn't kill the running lights, but that's okay. Those are LED. They don't create enough heat to melt the tape. But just so you know, that's where you pop your fuse out to disable the headlights. All right, so that wraps it up. Sorry this video did not turn out how I thought it would, but hopefully you gained something as I put the bike back together and just kind of talked about the class. And if anything, I hope this video encourages you to sign up for your first track day. Just do it. I had way more fun than I could have ever imagined. The class experience for my case was just different. I did not expect to be in a classroom for 6 hours and unable to break away to my garage and even eat, let alone pick up a camera and start filming. So just make sure you know what you're getting into. I would have asked more questions going into it so I knew what the class would have actually involved, but c'est la vie, it is what it is. Until the next video, hope you enjoy. We'll see you around.